Season 9, Episode 35, 383, Decoded Podcast. I didn't even have to load this one up today because this is the one that I set up for last week. And then I got that brutal text from you. The power is out here. I was like, okay, no cast, I guess. So I just left it. Season 9, Episode 35, 383.
There we go.
Hey, good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Gary.
I got to see Gary for a little bit yesterday. We hung out after school for a quick drink.
Nice.
Thanks for making the time, Gary. I know he had dealing with some school stuff. But I forced him out of the building.
Dealing with school stuff.
You know that vibe, you tidy up before you leave. I think I pulled him out of work before he could fully tidy up. So I don't like that either. I like to make sure my stuff's in order and then I'm gone. Some of my favorite time at the end of the day is between the bell ringing. 15 minutes after from the moment the bell rings, 15 minutes or something. There's something about that 15 minutes that I don't know what to call it. It's like I get like a kick. I get a high from knowing that I can leave and nobody can stop me. And then the second thing is just that like it's a good tidy up time because I can't, even if I went to the car in those 15 minutes, chances of me getting out quick are slim because everybody's trying to leave at that time. So it's like 15 minutes of I'm here. I really can't leave, but I can if I wanted to. There's like an aura to it. So those 15 minutes are like golden to me, I guess. I don't know. So I'm always just working away. I'm doing the tidy up in those 15, doing the tidy up, getting ready for the next day. Good morning, Rochelle.
Morning, Rochelle. I find like that it's almost like a liminal space, right? It's the back rooms. It's the back rooms of the day. I find that last 15 minutes really dangerous.
Sorry, last 15 or 15 after the bell?
That just after the bell.
Okay. Tell me more. Danger. You sense danger. I want to hear about this.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, like not mortal by any means, but there's just a high risk of that 15 window expanding into a whole lot of wasted time. And for a bunch of different reasons. I mean, sometimes, depending on the day, I really want to go home and I just sit there kind of stunned. So it's like there's a shock and awe moment depending on what the flow of the day was, decompressing, if you will. Sometimes students show up at the door and sometimes it's as simple as a hello. Other times they've been waiting to share something with me that then either sets in motion the checklist for the next day, or it's stuff that I have to, or I guess I decide to deal with at the end of the day. Sometimes it's my kids, my own children showing up in my classroom and just the interaction with them, talking with them. Okay, what's tonight? Do you work? You know, people have to be dropped off anywhere? I forget to write the next day's date on the board. And we have like the sign out sheet for the bathroom, flipping the page and setting that up. I'll forget to put the LCD projector remote on the shelf in the space that I've sort of anointed as that's where the remote will go because I know I can find it tomorrow if I need to. So yeah, I think that 15 minutes after the bell, it's precarious. And the primal thought for me, the driver thought, is to go home, leave work. You've done enough work for today. At least you've done enough this type of work for the day. Go home and start doing a different kind of work. Go live your life. So yeah, I think I don't have a sense of ease or joy in that 15 minutes at the end of the day. I feel like at any given moment, the universe could cause chaos in my life. And it takes work to sort of, this is the effect that that is behind the rumor mill of like, oh yeah, that's why you see Mike blistering out the parking lot 5 minutes to the bell, because they're looking to sort of like jump the shark, that whole moment of being caught up in that first 15 after the bell. Now that could just be practical, right? They have prep at the end of the day. They want to get out of the parking lot first. They won't get caught behind the buses and the parents. But the individuals that are booking it out the door 5 minutes to the bell, that's just their expressway uh, to avoid that 15-minute trap. Now, me, I follow the rule too much, and plus, I teach P5, so I'm not going to walk out of my classroom 5 minutes early. But yeah, that 15 minutes just after the bell, the I think it's Lord of the Flies chaos level distraction.
So this is great. As soon as Rochelle said she agrees with you, I remembered my elementary days. And now that I think about it, in elementary, yes, I agree with you that those 15 minutes can be very dangerous, but elementary was a different culture. Like this is just to be reflecting. Secondary, I don't have a tight group of people. Like in elementary, at every school I worked at, there's a teaching partner next door, or there's a buddy in the building. Like there's danger. There is danger because I remember after school thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this and this, and then somebody walks in the room to talk about something or to ask something, and then it's like the whole thing's derailed. That 15 minutes is Lord of the Flies, as you'd say. But in secondary, I don't have that. I don't have a crew. I don't have a teaching partner. And because period 5 is my e-learn, I can be wherever I want in the building. So those 15 minutes tend to be just me, myself, and I. There's no risk of Lord of the Flies. But in elementary, it was danger because I was in such close proximity to other people and people that I work directly with. I don't have that in secondary in my current role. Now, this may change. Well, it not may change, it will change because I'm supposed to be in guidance. I'm hoping at the end of the day. And there's a whole whack of people in that space that I think when you have to leave at the bell, I think it's intentional. Like you have to let people know I'm out of here today when that bell goes. Like I can't, it's not negotiable. I got to go. And then I think I need to maybe if I can tidy up so that the bell rings, Lord of the Flies, I look at my watch, I'm like 15 minutes have passed, I have to leave. So it's like it turned into social time, but I tidied up and ensured that things were ready. Now, and I don't really know what that's going to look like, right? But I will tell you, I won't be isolated like I am now. It will be different. In fact, I had this conversation just the other day with one of the counselors I work with. I said to him, hey, I need to talk to Jordan. Like, I need to talk about my schedule because I said, like, what, I don't want to be like guidance in the middle of the day and then bookend it with IEP monitoring. He's like, no, you don't want that. You want IEP monitoring first 2 periods and then fifth period guidance so that if you wish to just leave monitoring, come straight down, you can roll right into your guidance job. And he goes, and lunch is very busy for guidance counselors. So he's like thinking, he's being strategic. He's like, well, kids come in here both lunches seeking assistance or they got a quick question. They think we're going to be here. So he's like, it would be advantageous to your students if you were available at lunch. He goes, I get it. You may have duty. You may need to step out. It's your lunch, but it's also their lunch. This is when they come flooding in. So I talked to my principal and just said, I'm I'm just saying, I talked to him. It would be epic if we could have me just keep my schedule the way it is now. Period 5 now is guidance instead of e-learn. And then I finish 208 and I just roll into what my afternoon looks like. And my principal gave me the thumbs up and said, we've already been talking about it and it's on my radar. And he goes, I agree with the logic. And he said something like, I think other people also mentioned that type of logic to him. So I'm like, okay, good. It's on the radar and we'll see what happens with it. But because that's a thing, like I recognize just even now, like in conversations with the guidance department about certain situations, I am uber focused on, I hear the situation and I literally think to myself, holy shit, I don't even know where to start with this. And then I pay great attention to what the counselor says and how they say it, and then what they do next. And I think I told you probably in a polo, or maybe I said it to Gary in a text. I've been paying very close attention and saying to the counselor, okay, I'm privy to step 1 and 2 because I'm the monitor and I'm involved. But what happens when you don't involve me? What happens next in this situation? And it's been awesome. The counselors have been, okay, well, they stop and they look at me sideways. I'm like, that was dealt with, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, can you tell me about all the things that happened without me knowing what happened? Because I'm going to be in your role next year and I'd really like to understand what happens, right? And they're like, okay, then I did this, then I emailed the teachers about this, and I made a call to the parents. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm just, anyway, it's interesting. But Rochelle said, I tell my teaching partner that, and she helps me to leave on time. Okay, that's good. That's good. And there are times where I will literally, with 5 minutes left in the day, I will grab all my gear. I'll go downstairs to the door closest, the most strategic way to get to my car, and I will hover. And the minute that bell rings, I'm out. And I'm in the car and I'm out of the parking lot within 2 minutes, and I'm good. Those are days where it's like one of my kids has a 2:30 doctor appointment or something. It's like I must leave as soon as that bell goes. I have to be out. There's no dilly-dallying. But yes, danger. I remember elementary school days, danger. And then when I would leave at the bell, people the next day are like, what happened? What's wrong with you? You weren't here. I came to see you. I'm like, yo, bro, I have a life outside of this place. I had to go. Every other day I'm here tidying up or whatever, and you come in or I go to your room or whatever, right? So that's very interesting.
It's one of the game changers for this semester is that so there's at my school there's 3 different places you can park. The front of our school faces a street, so there's no parking out front, but there's parking on the 3 other sides of the school. And depending on what time you get to the school, if you get there a little, not late, but if you're there early, let's say if you're there 30 minutes early before bell, you could probably get a spot in 2 of the 3 lots. You get there closer, there's only 1 lot, it's the back lot. So the back lot is actually very close, like a 2-minute walk out my classroom door, down some back stairs, and then out to that lot. It's very fast. And not going to my office at the end of the day has been a pretty good life game changer to avoid that 15 minutes. Sorry, to protect that 15 minutes. So nothing really gets in the way during my transition home. Because I'm the last class at the end of a hallway. I go right down, basically like not fire escape stairs, but there are stairs at the end of the hallway that you can get down to the bottom floor of the school, but there's also in that stairwell, there's a door that goes right outside as well. So there's one to go right outside and one that'll come into the school from the bottom of the stairwell. And I just clock it out of there. I shut everything down. Last couple of minutes of the class, I'm starting to write the next day's date on there. The kids are starting to put their stuff together. I'm kind of putting away all those little bits that I talked about. Now, if somebody is at the door or shows up at the door, that's the game changer. And it's almost like you can't stop that from happening. But I will say, what I'm mentioning in this is that last semester I would go past the office at the end of the day. And that was a big time suck. Even if I was parked, because my office, imagine a T, the letter T. Right now, I'm at the bottom of the T. So that's like the back parking lot. The office would be up on the sort of like the right branch of the T. Last semester, I was teaching on the left branch of the T at the end of the day. So I would walk across that top line, and I guess I could have gone right out the left side. But the parking on the right side is actually a little bit better to get out at the end of the day. So you kind of, because the buses come through the other side. So you're kind of, I was constantly in this kind of like recon and logistics kind of a mindset, is like, what's going to be the fastest way to sort of execute my escape plan. And I also started to get into this mode of, and in that escape plan, how do I create a route through which I will run into the fewest number of people that I know? So this one's been ideal. I don't know what room I'm going to be teaching in next year. They haven't set that. I have an idea of, I'm in the spec ed department. I think there's a higher risk of being stopped in that 15 minutes if you are in an office at the end of the day. And heaven help you if that office has like an anteroom to it. So you have to come in a door, and then your door is an interior door. Because that's like a Survivor-esque kind of a challenge to get out of the building on time, right? Not only do you have to, and if there's people sitting in that antechamber, like it's basically a waiting room, you're like, crap. There's people out there waiting. People. I really come to appreciate and I think sometimes when I talk about, trying to stay away from people at the end of the day, I think there was a time where I thought like somehow that was disrespectful to the craft, or somehow I'm insulting the humans that are there to talk to me or connect with me. But I think in the last 5, 6, 7 years, my mindset has changed, and it really does come down to, this is kind of a way for me to protect my wellness. That by the time I get to the end of the day, I need time to not connect with any more people. I've just spent an intensive amount of time working directly with all the communication I do with the parents, running into kids in the halls, the social kind of connection, like that battery. A friend of mine would have said, like, my spoons are all gone. Like, I got nothing. So, well, sorry. It's a David Goggins nothing. Of course, I've got more. I could sort of like still deal. But I'm starting to sort of accept the fact that I just don't want to. And I can choose differently. And I get home and I feel refreshed. Like, I actually feel just a little bit more refreshed by walking into my own house. I don't feel like I'm walking in the house and like these kind of roots of the school are still kind of like hanging off me. I've actually I'm now home. So I like that. But I would say a few years ago, and definitely as a young teacher, I would have felt more bothered or guilty by having this mindset that somehow I don't want to talk to you at the end of the day. I really don't care if this is your first opportunity. And I'm not down for that. Oh, can I just have a little conversation before you go? No. I will, because I try to do a quick, almost like psychic measurement of, okay, this thing that you're presenting to me right now, if I don't have some sort of awareness of it, will this cause headaches tomorrow? And it's not like I'm going to go home and work on it, because I won't. But does it give me a jump start on the day tomorrow? So there will be times where I'll actually say to a teacher, I'm out, but you're welcome to walk with me. And the funny moment is this: I've had teachers and students follow me, take me up on that and I'm not running away from them, but I'm pacing, I'm out the door. We get to the door of the school, and like those movies like where there's you know, the protagonist is trying to get out of the haunted house and the monsters or whatever are kind of chasing them right up to the door. The door opens up and there's like sunshine, and then you just see the monster kind of fade in the background, like they can't go into the light. The moment's very much like that. I turn around and they're still standing in the doorway. Like they're not actually going to come all the way. They don't want to go out into real life. It's like this conversation can only exist in the fiction that is school. And they're like, okay, cool. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Clef. I'm like, okay. Because in my mind, I'm like, you're still welcome to walk out with me to the car. Like, obviously, you're not going to run beside the car, but it's just kind of funny. I get this like vision that you know, let's say that the conversation just can't exist outside of the halls and the walls of school. To see their face sort of fade into the shadows. Door closes. Haunted house. So yeah, I would have felt guilty. I would have felt like somehow I was doing an injustice to the system, to the community, to my colleague. And I realized like that's a lot of smoke. It's a lot of smoke because I need to feel good when I go home. I need to feel like there is actually an end of the day. And that's the other part of that 15 minutes. Things can happen in that 15 minutes. And I get it. You can only do so much management of this. My awareness of the danger of the 15 minutes is what's more important to me. Do I still deal? Does the 15 turn into a half an hour, 45? Of course. But important to notice that if you choose to engage with that 15 minutes in anything other than your escape plan, then you're opening up that 15 minutes to take up more of your time, your own lifetime. And I've become far less willing to give that away for free. There's a high value on it for me now.
I get it. So let's mark this AI, let the AI know to mark this episode.
Yeah.
To do like a side-by-side comparison for next year and what the 15 minutes after the bell look like next year at the start of the year. Because even at the start of this year, having already done my job, having known how to do my job that I'm currently doing, didn't matter, you know, the first, second, third week of school, the 15 minutes after the bell, still no danger for me. But now moving into a space where humans need to interact with me more often, and or I'm surrounded by colleagues who we're all in a tight space, what does that 15 look like? And plus I won't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this job at the beginning of it. So am I running around like a chicken with my head cut off because I'm like, I need a couple of answers before I go? Am I the one? Am I the monster who's following somebody to the door saying, hold on, I'm walking with you? And wouldn't
We
it be
all are.
hilarious? Wouldn't it be
We all
hilarious
are.
though if I was as they're driving in the parking lot, I'm walking beside their car and their windows down, and I'm asking them a question. And I'm like, I know you're leaving. I just answer this, and then they pull out and squeal the tires and drive away. And I'm like, I didn't get the answer.
There's yeah, what's the oh, there's a movie, Adventures in Babysitting? No. There's a movie, it's probably an 80s movie. Here's the test of the 80s. Gary, maybe. There's an 80s movie where I think there's a character in there. There's a character in this movie, and I think they're a paper boy. I think. And they keep popping up in the movie harassing the protagonist. And they're saying, I need my $4. I need my $4. And it's like, because they haven't been paid yet. And they keep popping up. And I think the paperboy keeps like they go over a cliff or they get hit by a bus, but they keep on coming back. And I don't remember if they're a monster or a ghost or if there's any sort of supernatural element to it. But the paperboy keeps showing up. I need my $4. You got to give me my $4. I think the other part to this as well is like this is me as a teacher's perspective. I know that for others in the school, the bells don't matter. So my gosh, like the idea that there is no 15 minutes after the bell, because the bell doesn't exist. And most directly about that, like if you're an administrator, like the 15 minutes after the bell is only a window, but the timing of it has nothing to do with you. You definitely, that 15 minutes after the bell, you just know that you're going to hear and turn around and someone's standing at your doorway. Okay. Yeah, Gary going better off dead. So you remember this moment, eh, Gary? Better off dead. Yeah. I want my $4. And I think the kid keeps on getting like, yeah. I can't remember the exact premise of it, but it was an 80s trope. It was definitely an 80s trope. Yeah, Gary, you know what? I think you're probably on point with that. It's probably better off dead. And I don't even remember but it was a comedy, 80s comedy. We'll Google the shit out of that later. But yeah, if the 15 minutes after the bell, if the bell doesn't exist, man, that time, 15 minutes after the bell for other people becomes a window for you to just have to deal. That really is. That's a thing. And any administrators I've talked to, that's like red line danger zone, because there's people that will just show up at your door at the end of the day, and they will be desperately working in the mode that I'm in, trying to protect that 15 minutes. And they're like, here you go. And they just hand you something at the end of the day. And then as a responsible educator, manager of a school, and ultimately one step closer to the sun, so to speak, like you're right under the super, it's like, you're dealing so that this doesn't become a thing. You're in that constant mode of, will this save me time? If I spend X amount of time on this right now, at the end of the day, does it actually make tomorrow easier? And I will say, from my observation, that there's a huge cost to that time. There's a huge cost to that time, to the point where I think that's the number one factor that extends work life into home life, where you actually can't put it down, because you're still kind of like formulating, how am I gonna action this tomorrow? So it's any portfolio that has professionally managed time as part of it. So
Oh boy.
We've done episodes before about Beyond the Bells. I was looking through some of the pictures, my drawings from back in the day, and we've landed on this. This is a prominent fixture in education. I think no more so than ever. I mean, it's always been kind of a thing. It's attached kind of quite tightly to work-life balance. It's attached to how do you know when to stop prepping and doing your work done? It's attached to whose wellness is more important. So you're talking about work-life balance and wellness balance. And we've had episodes talking about this sense of us caring about our classrooms more than our families. And I only mean that by the metric, as in the amount of time spent taking care of school things and students and such. And then kind of a little bit of this kind of like comeuppance moment, like I need to be putting that energy into my own family. Like I need to be that intensely interested in fixing and helping and supporting my own family. So the chaos of the 15 minutes after the bell.
Can I shift gears a little bit?
You should. Yep.
So the new He-Man movies come out. I don't know what the title of it is officially, but I've been thinking about this recently. I've seen the advertisements, and last night there was a window of quiet time where my wife headed off to bed. The kids were in another room doing something, and I was just sitting there on the couch. I took like a sigh, like a deep breath, and I was thinking about this movie, and it reminded me of Saturday mornings, waking up and watching cartoons, and then wondering, does this still exist on Saturday mornings? Like, are there 2 or 3 channels on Saturday mornings where they just play cartoons for 3 or 4 hours. Um, I couldn't answer that question. So what I did instead was, I'm like, well, it's Friday night and I'm chilling. So I started watching He-Man, the cartoon, like I found it on demand and just hit play. And I was dying laughing at the sound and the visuals and the mouth moving, but the audio not being completely connected to the mouth movements. And I got to tell you, man, it was a lot of fun for about 45 minutes last night. But I had some great feels thinking about Saturday mornings, getting up and heading straight to the TV, getting your cereal, and just watching like a GI Joe. That's the one I mainly remember. I'm not sure what the other ones were, but it was like just this nice Smurfs, just nice couple of hours packaged nicely for me as a little boy.
What I remember about that is that if you started too early, they were kind of weird cartoons. Like, and I only mean in so much like Flintstones. Like they were sort of like more old timey. The sweet spot was kind of like maybe 9:30 a.m. till 11 a.m. And then after 11 a.m., as you got closer to lunchtime, they got weak again. So, you might come across a Woody Woodpecker or the Looney Tunes kind of stuff. But prime time, I think, on Saturdays was kind of like the 9 to 11. And that's where, like, you'd have cartoons debuting. Like that doesn't, that's, I don't know if that's a thing anymore, right? Like you knew there would be a new season of Thundar the Barbarian or I used to watch a lot of Voltron. Like I like that one too. Thundercats.
Hmm.
I watched that. Yeah. I was never a fan of like the whole like a lot of the Hanna-Barbera ones, Yogi Bear, and like I just wasn't down with any of those characters. I didn't like them. I was probably more of a Looney Tunes. If I had to pick like a franchise, like a company that was putting out cartoons.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know if it's a thing. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I have seen some of the excerpts of that. Um,
I love that I literally could just search it up and watch it last night. Um, I thought it was great that I have access to these shows that I watched when I was a kid that I can watch now and enjoy for different reasons.
mhm. Yeah, it is fascinating. Like one of the things that is stripped of it that I think was an essential element was that if you didn't get up on time to see it, you didn't get to see it.
Right.
I think that was the FOMO without us actually having that hashtag back in the day. Like you can't get up for school, but you're somehow waking up naturally. Bing, 8:45 a.m. You're in the kitchen within 5 minutes, right? Like your brain hasn't even woken up yet, and you're already pouring milk into your Cheerios, settling, yeah, down in front of the TV or on the couch in front of the TV. And the whole time, this hyper vigilance listening to the house, like, oh shit, someone's waking up. Because there was also that element, like someone else would want to come down. And for me, have you started your chores or did you take the dog out? Like that whole um, calm would just be shattered by some request to begin the day, because that was the thing. Even though the cartoons were the first thing, it didn't actually feel like the day had started yet. It was like kind of this magical kind of suspended animation for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
I agree with you 100%. As soon as the most epic time was being up at the right time, like you're saying, but on your own. And
Hmm.
because I have a brother and a sister, and so we would compete like for the TV. Who's going to get the TV? What are we watching? Because
Yeah.
there were some cartoons that my sister and I, she's only a year younger, we would watch together, but then there were other ones that she didn't want to watch and she preferred to watch something else. And it's like, shoot, I didn't get to the TV first.
See,
And nobody
that's
cared. There was no like my parents didn't. They just let us deal, right? Like it's not like they're like tough luck. Who got here first? I'm like, oh shit,
who
you
got
know.
there first. There was the sort of like that was the kind of funny thing, like the uh the cartoons that I wanted to see were really kind of packed in that 9 to 10:30 range. Too early or too late meant that like Care Bears or Strawberry Shortcake, like these other cartoons, I'm just like, I don't want to watch any of this. Like, what's up with that? So the deal generally, what? So the I guess the problem, not the problem, but the conflict, yeah. So I have a younger sister. Would be if she happened to get up and then get there earlier than me to start to watch what I thought were like just weird, like why these aren't good cartoons, and then her not wanting to relinquish the remote because she was there first.
Hmm.
So me not getting to GI Joe or Transformers or any of these other things that I wanted to. Now there was also, I mean, the when and I don't know if this always was or I just noticed there the after school cartoons became a thing too though. Like there was sort of like a 4 to 5:30 pocket where like that's where GI Joe and Transformers shifted to. They were afternoon cartoons when we got home from school.
Hmm.
Um Nothing wrong with Care Bears from Rochelle. Nothing wrong with Care Bears. No, not just not for me, right? And when you're a kid, um, what I think, just the colors and the characterization and the storyline just never like Smurfs was not for me either. Yeah, Smurfs was not for me either. I'm not watching. I wasn't watching Smurfs. So I started to really appreciate that 4 p.m. one a lot to sort of make it home to be able to watch some of those afternoon cartoons.
Hmm.
I don't think it didn't have the same cachet as like the Saturday morning one,
Right.
but there was a pocket there for a time. I can remember in
Gary's
elementary school.
Gary's saying after school cartoons and music video shows. Yes, I remember that.
I think that's kind of like the Gen X shift, right? Because we were there when the cartoons started getting pushed out because of like Electric Circus and Much Music and Video Hits and these other shows where music started to kind of pivot and become more embedded in pop culture and kind of like uh, the teen consciousness, right?
Hmm.
So He-Man, Transformers, and GI Joe, yeah. Well, Transformers and GI Joe were coming from the same company. I don't know about He-Man. I don't know about He-Man, but I think Transformers and GI Joe are both owned or were owned by Hasbro, so like a toy company. And then it's why often they would be back to back. They'd actually be back to back. So
Those were good times.
nostalgia. Eh?
Yeah. Anything else
I,
you want to hit on before we go?
no, just the last. So the call of the day is kind of funny. It was in passing. So yesterday was one of those days in Spec Ed where you're sort of checking to see what the American Gladiators. Well, that was American Gladiators. Now maybe people kind of remember the version American Gladiators, yes, but there was also something interesting before American Gladiators. And Rochelle, I don't know how old you are, but I'm going to lean on Gary's vintage here. I wonder if Gary remembers Battle of the Network Stars. And Battle of the Network Stars was kind of like it it literally like imagine kind of American Gladiators esque, not the same kind of intensity, although I did love American Gladiators, that show. Battle of the Network Stars was kind of like one of the OGs for reality TV a little bit. So you had these, CBS, NBC, ABC actors coming and doing these competitive events. Battle of the Network Stars. But oh yeah, so call it a day. It was a day where we were sort of checking the lunar orbits just to see, like, is it a full moon? What kind of a moon is it today? And I don't even know. We didn't ever get to that. But yesterday there was a lot of stuff, and our our former department head. just the way the leadership happened, she stepped down from the headship and then became the assistant head. And it was just no one applied for it. So she's like, let's keep the ship straight. So her and the head yesterday were involved in a bunch of different meetings. There were escalations in some of our comm classes. So they were just busy all day long. And they came back in, and the assistant head said, I think we should just call it a day. And in my brain, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at my watch. It's like noon. I'm like, well, it's really early still. She said, no, metaphorically, like, let's just end the semester. Like, that's it, done. And it was just kind of funny. It kind of stuck with me throughout the day to sort of watch at who else is kind of at that spot, because it's always quite sudden and stunning. One, a colleague is fine on the Tuesday, and by the Wednesday, they're just like, I'm done. But I can feel that kind of energy creeping up in the halls and with the students and such. So I was just, before we left, I was wondering if you're noticing that at all in the schools, like, just either they might not be saying the words, but you're just like, yeah, you've hit your wall. Look at you, you've hit your wall. I think it's happening. We still have another 2 weeks, right? When we make it through exams. So
yeah, I know the room I work in's been going whack crazy lately. Rochelle says yes.
And you know what? I'll just kind of roll. I'm like, whatever. We're all going to deal. We're going to make it through. Another school year is going to happen. So it's a known thing. I did at the beginning of May, when I started to show my students in my strats class, so long range planning. I always, a part of my agenda deck, have 2 months always facing there, so they can kind of see days, and I have them color coded for, like, what's the holiday, what's the weekend, what's an important day, and a countdown on that. And I had mentioned, it was at the top of May, I said, second semester feels different than first semester. So just be aware that you may start to have some complicated feelings. Now, I work with grade 9s and 10s. The 10s have they've gone through it. Sometimes the 9s, a lot of it is kind of new experiences for them. So I said, I can't make it sort of easier or harder. I just want you to be aware that if you're feeling stress, there's an energy to second semester that's different than first semester. I said, for some people, the stress is, they're doing well, they want to keep doing well. I said, for others, you're starting to sort of like realize the value of your relationships, and then sort of thinking everything's going to change. I'm now going into grade 10. I said, for some, you get to the spot like, holy crap, I'm not doing good in my courses. What can I do? I said, but there's a lot of these different vectors of emotion that are like coming at you all the time. And they're like, whatever. I'm like, okay. I said, I'm here to help. I will watch you. I will help you notice it. I'll support you through it. I got tons of strategies. I got ways to kind of navigate that space. Well, wouldn't you know it, like the top of this week, where they're kind of looking like these kind of wilted flowers in class, right? And I'm just like, how's everybody feeling? And they're like, what you said back. And I said, I know. I said, here we are. What can we do? How do we work through it? So I'm noticing it in the classrooms, and I've noticed it consistently. I mean, we've seen this in you could say, like, the kids become more rowdy. They become something, or they start doing a thing, and then you just kind of say, it's the June. It happens in June. It's infectious. It can be infectious too. Keeping your head on straight and just making it to the end. I mean, we've done it now. How many times have you done it? I've now done it 23 times, 24 times, ended a school year. How many school years have you ended? You up to 25, 26?
Sorry, I was struggling with my volume button here.
No problem.
Acting funny. Yeah, I have 25, 26.
Yep. So, always the same, always different. So
25, 26, but this will be my second one in secondary.
Yeah.
So it's fresh.
Do you notice a difference? I think we talked about this last year, actually. Is there anything noticeably different when you see them like as we're wrapping the school year? I mean, apart from the age of the kids and how, I mean, there's structurally things different.
I was going to say secondary seems more volatile,
Oh,
riskier. Um, this push, this like in my no, not just in my role, it's happening all over the place. You got people panicking now, and
hmm,
it's a weird vibe. Like my inbox is exploding. Hey, can you talk to Jimmy? Can you talk to Gary? Can you talk to Rochelle? They're not coming to class. They owe me 3 assignments. They're gonna fail. And without being a jerk, I'm like, yeah, of course I'll check in with whoever you want me to check in with, but they're going to get a credit. They're going to get and I don't know if Gary wants to jump in, he probably won't, but it's a 5 month semester. And now the kid thinks they're going to get a credit in 2 weeks, or the teachers are like, they owe me 1,000 assignments. Well, you're not going to get 1,000 assignments. So what do you see what I'm saying here? Like, you're not going to
yeah,
get, if a kid owes you all this stuff, you're not getting it. So what are we going to do with that? Like, why am I meeting with the kid? Am I meeting with the kid because you want to make sure when the kid fails, you say how many times you talk to me to meet with the kid? Like, are we playing a game? Are you being authentic? There are these games that I don't particularly enjoy, I'm finding in secondary at the end, whereas in elementary, you don't have that. Elementary is my recollection of elementary is it is June is busier than all get out, even though, in February you don't think about June being busy, but June's always crazy busy because you got grad, you got school trips, you're shutting things down, you're writing report cards. Like, it's crazy. But the high school crazy is different. The high school crazy is I'm either chasing kids or I'm playing games with teachers. Everybody's looking at each other like, are we really going to try to save this is going to sound bad, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but you can't save a kid in 2 weeks when they've not done anything for 4 months. There's going to be some consequences that nobody really wants to deal with. And where do I land, right? Because my job is to not give up. I'm not going to give up, but I can't save the kid all by myself. So
mhm,
it becomes, you got 2 weeks. Your teacher's still interested in taking things from you and supporting you. So what can we do in these 2 weeks for you to either try to get the credit, get that 50, or get a high enough failing mark that you can credit recoveries is an option moving forward with your guidance counselor and all this and all that. So some kids buy in and some kids are like, I'm out. I don't care anyway. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to be checking in on you for the next 2 weeks because that's what's left, and
mhm,
that's my job. So can we do this? I've said to kids, like just yesterday, how do we do this so that you're not pissed off at me 24/7? Because I'm not here to piss you off. I'm here to support you. And I'm coming to work every day. So I can't say to somebody, I'm not talking to Gary anymore. There's 2 weeks out, I'm not going to talk to Gary. That's not my job. My job is, yeah, I'll go talk to Gary. I'll call him in if he's around. I met with kids yesterday and I'm like, hey, how's this going? Your teacher says this is like 3 weeks late. I don't understand. I don't understand what the barrier is. Well, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. And it's already time has passed. And I'm like, your teacher says they'll still take it. You just got to get it done or hand in what you have. Well, excuse after excuse after excuse. And at the end of the chat, I said, great chatting with you. I'll check in with you again on Tuesday or Wednesday. But like, the only other option is to grab them by the arm, drag them somewhere, sit them down, give them the pencil, or just start scribing whatever they say. And it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And they wouldn't want to do that.
mhm.
So I find the last month to try to make something happen that we've been trying to make happen for months. there's some ridiculousness to it. There's some ridiculousness to it. I don't appreciate the ridiculousness, but I will check off my boxes from what my responsibility is in that ridiculous. I'm part of the ridiculousness. I don't like that at all. I don't like it at all because that's not my way of operating anyway. I'm a planner. I'm a doer. I got to tell you this story. This is a really good story, and then I got to go. You probably have to go too.
Yep.
Thursday, there's this kid on my caseload. He he's got a math course, he's got a arts course, and he's got a GLE, a grade 12 GLE that is replacing a course that he just dropped. He dropped computer programming. They let him drop it because it was out of control. He wasn't going to pass it. It was horrible. So math is his biggest issue right now, and he's really scared, and he's in grade 12 and he needs this math credit to graduate. So he comes to me every couple of days, period 5. He knows I'm in my office. He's supposed to be in student success doing the GLE because it's on his own type work. So he comes, he checks in with me. So Wednesday he checked in with me, and he's like, he sits down, he looks defeated, and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, math is killing me. I'm still failing. I'm like, okay. So I bring up an email from his teacher, and I say to the kid, what's going on with this one assignment? Your teacher says it's 3 weeks overdue. Where is this finance assignment that you have to hand in? He goes, well, I'm still working on it, but. And I said to him, I'm going to push back on you here, and you're just going to have to take what I give you. He goes, okay. I said, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're procrastinating on this finance assignment. You have support from me, period 1. You have support, period 5. I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you procrastinating? What is getting in your way? And he's like, I just don't want to do it. And I said to him, the obstacle is the way. You have to do this to get over this. Whether you pass it or fail it, it's got to get done. So I took a sticky note and I wrote his name on it. And I said, so-and-so says that this is the day that he will complete this assignment. And I gave him a sticky note and the pen. And I said, put the date in. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you're making a commitment today. You are accountable. I said, all of us are working harder than you, and you're in grade 12 and you're supposedly going to college next year. You're not going to survive college if you operate like this. And he's just looking at me. I said, put a date down. Pick a day that you're responsible for and you're accountable to that day. So he starts thinking. I'm like, what about Monday? He's like, well, I'm going to a concert Friday night, and I don't want this weighing over me at the concert with my friend where I'm supposed to be having fun, but all I think about is math class. So I give him one of these. He goes, Friday. I'm going to get it done by Friday. I said, okay, put the date in the paper. He writes the date in. I take the note. I stick it to my bulletin board, and I'm like, I'll be checking in with you Thursday, and I'll be checking in with you Friday. I said, dude, I'm proud of you, whether you pass or fail, whether you make this date or not. I'm proud of you. Because this is the first step in success. You have to be accountable. You have to step up and be responsible. And you wrote that date down. I did not make you write that date down. And I'm going to email your parents and I'm going to tell them what you just did. Everybody's going to know. And then it's on you. I don't want to go home and be upset because I didn't do my part. He's like, fair enough. He leaves, goes down to room 208 to work on his GLE. The bell rings to end the day. 5 minutes after the bell, he's at my door. He goes, I did it. I'm like, did what? He goes, I finished my finance assignment. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, after we talked, as I walked from your office to room 208, I was like, I'm done with this nonsense. Chidiak is right. Whether I fail or not, it's got to get done. So he goes, I walked into 208 and I said to the monitor, I don't want to work on my GLE today. I want to finish this math assignment. Will you help me? Monitor said, of course, I'll support you any way I can. He completed it. And then after he talked to me, he went and he handed it in. He came to see me yesterday and he's like, I feel so good. He goes, I don't know what my mark's going to be. It's in my teacher's hands. But he goes, I went home and I was like elated. You know, I did some GLE work. I tidied up my house. He goes, I was doing all these things that, he goes, I was stuck doing nothing the whole time. Oh, my favorite thing, when he did come back to tell me he was done, I said, here, hold the paper. He held the paper. I took a picture and I said, now rip it up. He ripped it up. I took another picture, and I said, I'm sending these pictures to your parents right now, because I just sent them an email saying, we don't know what's going to happen with this assignment, but I forced him to pick a day that he said he'd get it done. Now I'm sending a picture of you holding the commitment and you with the commitment completed. Anyway, it was kind of fun because that only works 1 out of 100 times, but it actually worked. So I was like, yay, you got your friggin' work done, and
It's a
you
great strategy.
learned something, hopefully.
Yep.
That was good. That was good, but I don't get many of those.
I know. No, I got you. I got you.
That's all
Excuse
I got.
me. No, you know what? I think that's a great note to end on. I like it.
Gary and Rochelle, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you very much.
This was season 9, episode 35, 383 of the Decoded Podcast. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace, man.